Okay, problem number one, it says the equation, which is cubic, has three. You know, if it's an equation, I guess I probably should write down that this is equal to 0. I'll correct that, all right? So the equation has three real roots, and it goes on to say that when you add x2 and x3 together, you would get x1. They asked for the value of a, though. It looks like a conundrum at this point, but let's just write down on the whiteboard what we've been given and what they want, all right? For the whiteboard. And again, it's good to have the question in front of you, and I do. It's number one. And number one, we're given a cubic equation. And be careful about writing this down, right? Plus some number a, that equals 0. They say there's three real roots, and they say the real roots are x1, x2, x3. What does that mean? That this factors x minus the first root, x minus the second root, and x minus the third root. And that equals 0. Again, if the root x1, x2, x3, if they're the roots, these would be the factors x minus x1, x minus x2, x minus x3. They go on to say that x1 plus x, oh, no, they don't say that. Let's go backwards on that. They say x1 is equal to, be careful here, x2 plus x3. Okay. They want to know what a is, though. And looking at this, I'm going to expand this. All right, and if you do that, you would get x cubed. Again, this may take some time to do. I'm going to put down minus x squared. And that's going to be x1 plus x2 plus x3. We're going to do a linear term. That's going to be plus x. And what do you get there? x1, x2, plus x2, x3. And then you're going to get x1, x3. And then you're going to get the constant term, which turns out to be pretty simple. It's just simply x1, x2, x3. All right, so I got some problems over here. And the first problem I got is I realized that equating coefficients is probably one way you could go. And let's just emphasize what I mean by that. So this coefficient here on the x squared term is minus 4, which means this over here, right, same thing. I can write this down now. What am I writing down? I'm going to write down 4 is the same thing as x1 plus x2 plus x3. All right? So the question comes down was, what are you doing about that? I mean, does it give you anything? And sort of, because I know that x2 plus x3 is just x1. So I get x1 plus, again, x2 plus x3 is x1. So I think I know what x1 is now. And the reason that 4 equals 2x1, which means x1 is equal to 2. Now granted, I'm going to claim again, I didn't want that. I wanted a, but certainly I found something. And now I want to go to the next thing, which is equating another coefficient. See what happens there. And let's talk about, this linear term over here. All right? So we write down, I'm going to write that down now. I'm going to write down that minus 11 is equal to, let's see, x1, x2, x2, x3, x1, x3. All right? What are you going to do now? Well, I guess I could write some things down. I mean, for example, minus 11. I know x1 is 2, so that's 2x2 now. Plus x2, x3. And again, I know x1 is 2, so I get 2x3. All right, let's see what we get over here. And let's write this down. Minus 11. And I'm going to write down 2 x2 plus x3. I'm just looking at those two terms over there. Plus, did I make a mistake somewhere? x1? I did. Let me just wait. This is x2. Plus x2, x3. Again, I'm relying upon what I know. I know x2 plus x3 is just x1, and what's x1? It's 2. So we get minus 11, and again, this is x1 now. That's going to be 2 plus x2, x3. And what do you get there? Minus 11, that's 4, plus x2, x3. So we get minus 15 equals x2, x3. All right. I got to think now. And what do I want to get? So I'm wondering, do I really want to get x2 and x3 at this point? And not really. I want to get the other coefficient, which is the linear guy, and that's the a. Right, so I got to be careful about this now. And what I'm looking at now is I'm looking at finding the a. And the a is this thing over here. I'm going to equate the coefficients equal to this thing over here. Let's write that down. So what do we write down? We write down that a equals minus x1, x2, x3. Let me make sure I'm saying that right. Yeah, that's right. So do I know what x1 is? I do. It's going to be 2. Do I know what x2, x3 is? I do. It's minus 15. What do you get there? A is going to be equal to, let's just see, 30, right? And we're done. Let me go back and read the question again, make sure I am done. What does it say over here? The equation, again, I have to correct that in the notes, by the way, has 3 real roots, x1, x2, x3. x1 is equal to x2 plus x3. What's the value of a? We found the a to be 30, all right? And again, if you want to, you can write the polynomial down now. Write this over here, x cubed minus 4x squared minus 11x, and that was plus a, right? That was an equation. I could write this down now, x cubed minus 4x squared minus 11x. A turned out to be 30. I know there's a root of the problem, and I'll point out what I mean by that. I know one of the roots is 2, so I know one of the factors. I'll write this down for you. It's going to be x minus 2. And then the question is, do I know this guy over here? This is equal to 0, by the way. And not really. What I could write down, I could write this over here. I could write down x squared. And over here, I'm going to say 15, minus 15. I don't know this over here. There's many ways to get it. I want to point out one way to get it is by long division. I'm going to go through that with you now. X minus 2. This question was not asked, by the way, but I still want to go through it with you. X cubed minus 4x squared minus 11x plus 30. Let's see what you get there. X squared is expected, by the way. That's going to give you x cubed minus 2x squared. Subtract, you get minus 2x squared minus 11x plus 30. Repeat, you can get minus 2x now. What do you get there? Minus 2x squared. I'm just checking this now. Plus 4x. That's going to be minus 15x plus 30. And what do you get there? Minus 15, as expected, by the way. Now the question is, can we factor that? I think so. What do you get? X minus 2. X and x. And let's see what you're going to get there. I guess you're going to get 5 and 3, right? Looks like minus 5 plus 3. What are the roots now? And again, they didn't ask this question. The roots are going to be 2, 5, and minus 3. And we're done. By the way, we're done up here. I'm just going to do a little bit of extra work over there. Thank you.